Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a very interesting show. It's actually somewhat different from the usual, although not too much. I wouldn't want to deviate too much from the wonderful topic of discussion. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just show you a really, really wonderful tweet regarding yours truly from a former Clinton advisor. I'm not going to list the gentleman's name. He's a very intelligent, wonderful, really brilliant individual who is a very, very strong supporter of Madam Secretary. And he's just fantastic in every single way. I can't say enough about this gentleman. He's a really, really great person. He wrote on April 21st, 2018, he wrote the following about me. H.A. Goodman wrote some of the most viral anti-Clinton articles of 2016, shared in big numbers by pro-Bernie, Hillary-hating left. He is now an open Trump supporter. Will we hear any mea culpas? So, I want, this is a really interesting, I just find it really great. I don't know, nobody gets it the way I do. Nobody gets it. I just find it so hilarious. Exactly. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin has HA derangement syndrome. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, the two best moderators in all of YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching 3,000 subs. I got some more disguises and costumes and wardrobe today. It's fantastic. Let me read it to you in the way I would read it on Bizarro World Goodman. So I got the costumes in for Bizarro World Goodman. I'm going to be starting that in about a week and a half or so. But let's get to 4,000 plus subs. H.A. Goodman wrote some of the most anti-viral articles of 2016, shared in big numbers by the pro-Bernie, Hillary left. Now he's an open Trump supporter. Will we hear any mea culpas? Huh? It'll be better with the disguise and everything. It'll be so much better, trust me. Anyway, fast forward. Now this gentleman, what a wonderful human being he is in every way. Very good person. Nothing bad to say. Only good things. Dun, dun, dun. The H.A. Goodman prophecy will take place, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like it or not. H.A. Goodman's prophecy is taking place. Former Clinton advisor calls on Biden to withdraw over allegations. Yes. Not yes for the allegations. Those are horrendous. That's infinitely worse than anything Trump or Kavanaugh or anybody has been accused of. Because in large part also because, like as the New York Times stated, if you file a false police report, you're going to prison. Nobody ever filed a police report against Kavanaugh or Trump. But anyway, political activist and one-time fierce Hillary Clinton backer urged Vice President Joe Biden to end his presidential bid. This is April 25th, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand? And then you get the New York Times, then you get the Washington Post, then you get the delegates saying, gosh, we're not legally bound in even the first round. That's bizarre. We're not legally bound even in the first round. This is going to be the MC Breed election. Ain't no future in your frontin'. This is going to be the MC Breed election. All those never Biden people, they're fronting. They're lying. They're not telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. They're never Biden because it's cool not to be Biden. But it ain't going to be so accepted not to be Clinton. And I'll be watching. I'll be watching every never Biden person. You better watch out. Because if you don't vote for Madam Secretary... If you do vote for Madam Secretary and you're a never Biden person, if you vote for Clinton and you claim to be now a never Biden person, it's on. Former Clinton advisor calls on Biden to withdraw over allegations. April 25th, 2020. This person worked for Clinton during her first presidential bid and was a prominent defender for her in 2016 cycle. Took to Twitter Saturday morning saying Biden should withdraw. Oh, my God. In a difficult Twitter thread, he said new information emerging in support of the allegation against Biden prompted his stance. Credible accusations are disqualifying, or we have no moral standards. Then why also eventually support Clinton, who went after every accuser of Bill Clinton? I can always thank my wife to get my back. You know that wonderful song, "Stand by Your Man." Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, I love my wife because I can always count on that wonderful, wonderful wife I have to make sure that anyone who accused me, to make sure their life is a really, really fun predicament. So I love these moral standards that they abide by. It's so interesting that if Biden drops out, gee, who do you think would become nominee if Biden drops out? Da na 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 na. Who is Hilsebub? Who is Hitlery? Yes. Yes. So, thank you, Arya. Thank you. Sanders could restart. Okay. So then he goes on to say, which is not accurate, Sanders could restart his campaign and other former candidates could replace Biden, naming Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, and others. Yes. Don't you know he wasn't even referring to Clinton? He talked about how Warren could then become nominee. Yeah, right. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen, in the same in the way that I said. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen, in the exact manner I said it would. I couldn't predict the treachery, but now you have prominent, very influential former Clinton supporters or current Clinton supporters saying that we need Biden to drop out. Did I not tell you Biden was going to eventually get calls to drop out, even before these allegations? He has more skeletons than a mortuary. He has more skeletons than a graveyard. He has more skeletons than a cemetery. He has more baggage than LAX. He has a more sketchy past than most politicians, because if you are a lifelong Democratic politician, you are part of a political machine that favors and that rewards through patronage and a legal form of graft, just like in Tammany Hall. Notice how there were no calls to investigate obvious corruption, because they said, well, he forced out a prosecutor because the prosecutor wasn't looking into corruption. Yet he was involved. He was involved because Hunter was on the board of directors, primarily because he was the point person on Ukraine, getting, by one estimate, $3.4 million. That is called corruption. If you get a job because of nepotism, that's not corruption. If you get a job because your family member could possibly make things easier for a country, then that's corruption. Biden has strongly denied. Reps for Clinton and Sanders did not immediately respond to requests. Bernie is going to be kicked off the ballot in New York Furthermore, the Democratic superdelegates are not going to vote for Bernie because they're superdelegates and they voted only for Clinton. And they vote for the power structure within the Democratic Party. They don't want Bernie Sanders. We know this because Democrats didn't even pass Medicare for All. They didn't pass Green New Deal legislation. It's a resolution. It was a public relations stunt. They said, well, the resolution was to evoke this change in national consciousness. Nobody cared. Everyone mocked it and eviscerated it. They completely scrutinized every single aspect of the nonsense to where you notice you have politicians who pushed for the Green New Deal resolution. They haven't talked about it since. They haven't passed any legislation since. They talk about climate change being the end of the world, and it doesn't seem like they're urgent. The urgency is lacking. The condemnation and judgment and preaching, that's there. The urgency is lacking. You would think they would have passed 10 different bills linked to climate change legislation or one major climate change bill in the House. Why haven't they? Why haven't they passed? So no major climate change bill, no Medicare for All bill. Where is this sweeping student debt reform bill? How hard is it? They have the House for 2 years. For 2 years they have the House. They've done nothing. They passed bills that have nothing to do with what they preach about. To my super chat, thank you, by the way. You want to support my voice, thank you. But it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So now you have this. This is just really. Now you have this article. So it goes through aides to Sanders are expressing their anger about the latest development. Well, yeah, but Bernie's campaign is in a much lesser extent accused of misconduct. Look, the left completely eats itself up. I learned that when I was on the left. After video emerged from 1993 in which the accuser's mother appeared to allude to her accusation on CNN. It was almost verbatim. The accusation was minus the actual details. But Reid, a staffer for Biden in 1993, was claimed he told Fox News on Friday that it was her mother who called into Larry King Live and the resurfaced clip and alluded to her daughter's experience on Capitol Hill. Biden's presidential campaign has adamantly denied claims, but the video is likely to be cited as evidence to show that Reid made her claims known to members of her family at the time. The Democratic National Committee did not respond to a request for comment from Fox News. The Intercept on Friday first reported the transcript on the August 11th, 1993 broadcast, where the woman, who does not mention the allegations, asked a question to the panel. The clip was later found and published by Newsbusters. Hunty wants to be left alone. Thank you. I love your content, man. What do you think will ultimately happen to Biden considering everything going on with these allegations and the media refusing to cover it? Hunty wants to be left alone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Well, Biden is going to ride off into the sunset in some manner. So Hunty wants to be left alone. He will ride off into the sunset in some manner. He can't completely be dismantled. I mean, or maybe he's completely dismantled and then kicked to the curb. I don't know. There's going to be some form of deception and treachery. So Hunty wants to be left alone. The convention is going to have Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary will be the nominee. Like I stated in 2017, in February of 2017 in the Huffington Post, Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. That's a great question. Hunty wants to be left alone. Okay, let's see. This is yet another reason that Biden needs to drop out or Biden needs to be replaced by Clinton, or first they're saying replaced by someone else. Well, they're not going with anyone else. That also is that's part of the charade, because you don't want the entire charade is predicated upon the belief that nobody is that megalomaniacal The Clintons are certainly not megalomaniacal enough to engage in this type of behavior. So, well, we have to. So, now you have Clinton, former Clinton advisor, just like the former Clinton officials had an app in Iowa that just miraculously didn't work. And the Steele dossier was linked to the DNC and Clinton. And Peter Strzok said Clinton should win 1,000,000 and we'll stop Trump. And James Comey found that Clinton had no intent in the dossier. So everything seems to always work out. Isn't that bizarre? It was a coinky dink. Everything. Oh gosh, no. It's just. Why is everybody always picking on me? Haven't I been vindicated enough? Haven't we been vindicated enough? I mean, they got me on obstruction of justice and lying under oath and perjury. But my goodness, I mean, every single time we're vindicated. I don't think there has been a person vindicated ever in the history of mankind like we have. Hunty wants to be left alone. I don't know exactly. I have to. The honest answer is I don't know. I don't know what happens to Biden ultimately. It could be a lot of things. Aria Lee, this is the craziest year ever. Keep doing what you do, HA. Aria, thank you so very much as always for watching, and thank you so much. Thank you, Aria. Aria, Hunty wants to be left alone. I think you look at Biden. Does he end his campaign within some kind of raging inferno of a controversy, or does he have enough time? Do Democrats have enough time for an endless stream of negative news stories, to end Biden's campaign in a way where you finally have, because the way it'll work is that you'll have a New York Times, a Washington Post article. You'll have numerous op-eds saying we need Clinton back. And honestly, and I'm not saying, I know that people are going to say, oh, you're just saying that just because your prediction, you want your prophecy to come true, you think you're some kind of prophet. But Clinton is the only person who could possibly defeat Trump. It is true. She actually has engaged in crimes, whereas they say Trump engaged in crimes. She actually did engage in crimes. But she's the only person who could stand up to President Trump and go toe-to-toe. Even though, if you and I watch, we say, okay, Trump won that debate. But she's the only person who they could say can stand up to Trump. If Biden went up against Trump, they wouldn't win the popular vote. They would lose the Electoral College in a landslide. States that were kind of blue wouldn't be blue anymore. They'd be red. The debate would be like a great white shark versus a guppy. It would be like a great white shark versus like a tiny little sardine. President Trump would absolutely decimate Biden. Absolutely. D-Lynn, thank you, D-Lynn, thank you. So Hunty wants to be left alone, and Aria Lee, I don't know what happens to Biden. I swear, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. It's very difficult to, to be honest, I got to be honest, it's difficult to find out how they pass the baton from Biden to Clinton. They will, but it'll be in a way that I can't I can't possibly know, and you can't possibly know. So it could be Biden himself saying, this is too much for me. I'm stepping down. And then there's a moment where, what do we do? 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 Oh my God. What do we do? Oh my God. We have no nominee. Oh my God. Biden stepped down. Oh my God. What do we do? What do we do? Warren? No. Texas bar application. It's Jimbo. It's orca versus a baby seal. Or Jimbo, orca versus a great white shark. Have you seen that? There is a clip, and I saw this even before YouTube was even. This was like in the early days of the internet, where I think it was like, I saw this in like 2003, Jimbo. It was a video of an orca versus a great white shark. And guess who won? The great white shark got its behind kicked beyond belief, because an orca is like two to three times the size. And they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, and they're meaner in a way. When they get mad, not against humans, I don't think, like great white sharks are. But it's not even. It was like Mike Tyson versus Jerry Nadler. The orcas. Don't mess with the orcas if you're a shark. You have a bad day, very bad day, very very bad day. It'll be like Biden against cornflakes. You just don't want to do it. But Larry, hello. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that Biden. So Jimbo, Aria Lee, Hunty wants to be left alone. Biden could drop out himself. There could be he could slide into second and then have an ACL tear. Gosh, he's a coach. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. The deposition. The Clintons eat depositions for lunch. They'll have to have like 10 depositions before anything serious happens, which eventually, there will be legal consequences. But he could drop out. He could slide into second and then tear an ACL. He could they could just say, look, we need someone else, and then there could be the draft Hillary movement. Why am I the biggest Hillary Clinton backer on the internet? Why? I went from the biggest Bernie booster on the internet to the biggest Hillary Clinton supporter on the internet. And the funny thing is, when I was against Madam Secretary, I was like the worst person. Like Lucifer was a better being than I was. My name was H. Lucifer Goodman. And now I'm saying Clinton. They said, no, they don't like anything I say. They just want the opposite. But you have a situation where now people, because you see the way it works is when you take like a shiny object, like, certain animals, they like shiny objects. Like, look, and then they're looking around. You just go like that, and they're enamored with shiny logic. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. And Democrats are the same way. They're like, yeah. The Democrats are like, it's like hypnosis. Like, you don't. It's like the Jedi mind trick. You have 30 nominees. We have 30 nominees. You have 30 different potential candidates. We have 30 potential candidates. We do. Bill de Blasio could become president. Bill de Blasio could become president. Oh, look. Beto O'Rourke dropped out. Beto O'Rourke dropped out. Oh, look, now you have only 3 candidates. We have only 3 candidates, or 4 with Michael Bloomberg. Oh, my goodness. Mayor Pete and Warren dropped out. This is weeks after they used an app in Iowa. Oh, that's right. They used an app in Iowa, and Mayor Pete and Warren dropped out. Oh, that's fine. Now Michael Bloomberg dropped out after Super Tuesday. Oh, my goodness. It looks like it's Biden. And now Sanders is dropped out. Oh, okay. Now it's Biden. Now it's only Biden. Now it's only Biden. And we can go on. We can go on forever. And then but there's these allegations against Biden. Allegations are bad. They're very bad. And so now, who do we have? Well, gosh, maybe he should drop out. Okay. And who do you think we should put in? I don't know. New York Times, Washington Post. Clinton should be the nominee. She earned it. She deserves it. She was cheated by Russia. Everything. Clinton was cheated by Russia. Clinton was cheated by Russia. Yes. Oh, my God. It's all working out. Just because, exactly. That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done. That's the way it's done, people. That's how they convince. That's how they convince their voting base. It's very simple. It's not difficult. Now, the average Trump supporter has a great deal more critical thinking. In terms of critical thinking skills, you're talking about a lot more critical thinking skills, or a greater grasp of logic and reason and integrity than the average Democrat. Because if you cheated Trump, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a supporter of President Trump because I want a president, the first president to step foot in North Korea, to begin détente between North and South Korea, which is very important when you talk about what's taking place now. Very important. South Korea is our strongest ally in the entire world. I say South Korea. I would say the strongest allies we have are South Korea, Israel, the UK, and then you could debate other countries, how strong they are. But I would say South Korea is the strongest ally we have, especially in terms of the origins and the beginning of everything from the Cold War to the Truman Doctrine to everything we have. Our current political paradigm that we have is based off of decades and decades of history that we faced as a country and as a world. So President Trump presided over the beginning of détente between North and South Korea, where President Moon Jae-in stated that President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Truth Decay! Clintons have the media. I'm thinking she's behind Biden's decades-old and well-known group. Truth Decay, yes. But the way, Truth Decay, the way it happens is the following. If I wanted to go ahead, Truth Decay, if I wanted to go ahead and fix a game, oh my God. If I wanted to go ahead and fix a basketball game, if I wanted to fix a basketball game, I would pull out maybe not the best player, but I would pull out the second best player. I wouldn't necessarily pull the best player and put him on the bench. So truth decay, it doesn't take much. You make sure the most establishment pick, who is seen as the most viable because he's the most establishment pick, has a million skeletons in his closet, and then you just let nature or let human nature take its course. Biden was never viable, but you elevate Biden, and then they tried to elevate Trump, but they didn't realize that Trump stood for a lot of policies that the average American wants. So, gosh, why is this not okay? So, truth decay. Thank you, James Shea. James, can you explain how superdelegates work in layman's terms? Because I think I get it, but not. But I might not. I know all the VPs and former POTUSs have a vote on and so on. So the way it works is, this is the thing. That's another part of the charade. If you had a baseball team where every hitter was a pull hitter, you would make sure that you had something even. You'd have the green monster even closer to the infield, and you'd have no green monster. You'd have maybe just half of the green monster. So every and then you would make center field and right field, farther out. But if you have only pull hitters, you would tailor the stadium to the team. So what they do is they tailor their rules to the corrupt, treacherous politicians they have. They came up with this system where it's supposed to be like this wonderful example of democracy, which is it's a political machine that's, James, so hilarious. We could all see right through it. They said, look, we're going to have delegates and superdelegates. The delegates are pledged. They're pledged in name only. They're not pledged legally. There's nothing legal about it because DNC lawyers in the DNC fraud lawsuit that Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, and Nico House waged, three very courageous individuals, we found out that DNC lawyers stated they can actually pick their nominee in smoke-filled back rooms. They do not need to have a primary. They don't need to have a primary. Okay? So I have this primary with the voting, which is all nonsense because the person viewed as most electable wins, or most realistic. Obviously the person who's most electable wins. The person who's marketed as the most realistic candidate. So Bernie was never viewed as realistic, and Warren, nobody knew what she stood for other than trying to disparage Bernie Sanders, and every other candidate had no name recognition. So Biden's been there forever, and just by virtue of name recognition, he won, and the fact that his name was not Bernie. They despise Bernie Sanders. The Democrats despise Bernie Sanders. They'll never let him anywhere close. And they say, well, Bernie's the embodiment of liberal values. No, he's not. He's a Green Party candidate. He's the embodiment of Green Party values. He's not changing the Democratic Party. If anything, they've now dug their heels in, and they'll never get anywhere close to what he wants. They'll only give lip service just to get people to vote. Bernie Sanders could have single-handedly forced them to pass Medicare for All and Green New Deal legislation by going to the Green Party and saying, look, if you don't pass Medicare for All, I'm not coming back. But he wouldn't do that. Bernie Sanders is part of the Barnum and Bailey nonsense. He is more of a showman than anything else. Biden equals green monster, Hillary equals red monster. Loud citizen. So, James, what they did is this. There's 2 rounds in the Democratic primary. 2 rounds. Let's say Biden has all the delegates. Let's say he wins it completely outright. He's not just the presumptive nominee. He will have wrapped up the nominee before the convention. He has all the delegates. What legal recourse do they have? Well, they have every legal recourse because the delegates are not legally bound. They're not legally bound. The delegates are not legally bound to vote for Joe Biden. I'll say it a million times. The delegates are not legally bound. Read the 538 article in every one of the description sections of my segments. the delegates are not legally bound to vote for Joe Biden. They are not legally bound to vote for Joe Biden. They can do whatever they want to. They can do whatever they want to do. If you get enough press and they're just waiting, if you get enough press, my pleasure, James, thank you. If you get enough press saying we need Madam Secretary, then they'll put Madam Secretary in. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. It's not rocket science at all. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it's a charade, but it's like fixing a horse race. You see the horses, you see them galloping and racing. You see one pulling ahead that had no chance to win, but suddenly the horse won. How did that happen? Was it the jockey? Was it something to do with the track? Was it something to do with the horse? We don't know. There's a million ways to fix a horse race, apparently, not that I know. But you can fix a basketball game. You could fix a baseball game. Although baseball, I think, is the only sport that where no umpire has ever been accused of any illegal activity. But basketball, and I think maybe football, you had referees and umpires that have been caught up. In football, if you want to call a pass interference, for example, I mean, for people who are really college football fans, I'm a USC Trojan fan, but that game against the 2003 Rose Bowl, the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, was it between the Hurricanes, the Miami Hurricanes, and Ohio State, the 2003 Fiesta Bowl. Okay, that was not pass interference. So that was not pass interference. The Hurricanes were cheated beyond belief. That was not pass. I'm watching it right now. There was nothing. You look at it. There was nothing. That was the cleanest play ever. And the contact was made after the receiver got the ball. Then they say they were holding a face mask. Oh, the ball is still alive and play is not over. And Chris Gamble, oh my God. Then they say face mask. No, that wasn't. That was an inadvertent. Nice try. Okay, whatever. So anyway, not saying that game was... Jimbo! These allegations will put Biden's female VP pick in an awkward position. I know. I know. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Because yes and no, because Democrat for them to be in an awkward position, they would have to actually have they would have to have enough integrity to be embarrassed, which they're going to be fine with. They're not embarrassed at all. But look, and that's a great point. That's a great point. But that's a great point. But I just think, Jimbo, that the female vice president was always going to be Lawrence. Thank you. The female vice president was always going to be a pick of Madam Secretary. They're going to pick the person that works best with Clinton. There is nobody aside from cornflakes that Biden can pick, and they know everyone on the left knows I'm right. They don't want to. They are the person in the Friday the 13th movie that is opening the door, and you're yelling, "Don't open the door in the abandoned house at 3 a.m. with no one around. What are you doing? Don't do it. Don't do it." And no, why that? What? Jason only, had the axe with 15 other people. That wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be the 16th, would I? No, that's impossible. And then they open the door. So they're like, well, Madam Secretary, no. I mean, we actually have a legitimate like, at what point, like, how does it happen psychologically that people think that 2016 was just an isolated incident? What? You would seriously have to believe that the Democratic Party was a real political party to think that 2016 was just an isolated incident. You would really have to believe that. Oh, by the way, for Bizarro World Goodman, I have my disguises coming in. It is going to be so great. You're going to love it. And you're just going to love it. It's going to be awesome. So, Jimbo, thank you. It's going to be awesome. Especially, this is going to be... the arguments against Trump will be so absurd from here on out. They will be so absurd that you need to watch Bizarro World Goodman just kind of just as a catharsis. I mean, just as a catharsis. Because it's going to be just so annoying, so utterly annoying to have to deal with this. But yeah, I mean, I have a background that's going to be great. I have giant baby Trump balloons. I have my Clinton Gore hat. I have coming in the mustache, the beard. I have these hilarious glasses, but they're just like, aviators, like fake aviator glasses. It's going to be fantastic. It is going to be so awesome. You're going to love it. And it's going to be exactly like... The great thing is that it'll abide 100% by YouTube policies because it's only against Trump. So I might open up a Twitter account and Facebook, maybe. Let me know if I should regarding Bizarro World Goodman, because it's I'll almost like nobody could ever insult me there because I would just agree with them. Because I would be Bizarro. I'd be them. So, I don't know. Should I open up a Twitter account and Facebook account? We'll see. This is not for me, but for Bizarro World Goodman. And I'll do a live streams for Bizarro World Goodman also. Should I have a Bizarro World Goodman Facebook or Twitter account? I don't know. Let's get Bizarro H on. Oh my God, I would love that. Tweet to Greg. Though, I have to. I might not go on Twitter because, I don't know. I'll think about it. But it's gonna be so awesome. Not Facebook, maybe too. That's true. Yeah. So we have almost 2,600 subs. Let's get to 4,000 subs. When we get to 4,000 subs, it'll be a good base to start. And I'll do I'll do 2 to 3 segments a day on that every single day for the remainder of the election. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait. Eric H526. Okay, I agree with you then. Okay, so I think maybe I will stay away from Twitter and Facebook. You're right. Lisa, thank you. But yeah. But anyway, it's going to be fantastic. You should see the... I'm going to try to... You should see the... You'll see the costume and the wardrobe. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. Anyway, it'll be like if Salvador Dali and John Belushi morphed into one person. But Daniel, I agree with you. I think I'll stay away from both places, and I'll just keep it at. As my third channel. But yeah, I mean, you have now Clinton advisors. You have Clinton advisors saying we need someone else. You have Clinton advisors saying we need someone else. So the issue now is who are they going to pick? If you have, ladies and gentlemen, an article in April 25th, April 25th article. April 25th article saying that, let's just see. Former Clinton advisor calls on Biden to withdraw over allegations. What do you think, Vice President? And then you have such claims also deserve to be reviewed by an independent press. Notice though that you couldn't review any claims. So they say, well, such claims deserve to be reviewed by independent press. Notice how they didn't say that with claims against Trump or Kavanaugh. So they're Jimbo, I was thinking of that, but I got even better hats. I have Vote Democrat hats, Clinton Gore 1992 hats. It's gonna be awesome. The wigs are coming in. I have wigs, the mustaches. I have everything from the mullet to different other hairstyles. James, who are fellow journalists you trust and why? I love Tim Pool. I think he's fantastic. So Tim Pool is great. I watch him all the time. He is completely independent. Sticks is a great journalist or YouTuber. I don't know if he considers himself a journalist, but he's definitely a fantastic YouTuber. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot. Black Conservative Patriot. If you go on, Black Conservative Patriot is a great journalist, YouTube channel, editor. In terms of editing his segments, unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot. There's Anthony Brian Logan, Amazing Lucas. This is great, really great. He's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers who are basically journalists. I consider them journalists. You can look at Kevin's Corner. He has a great channel. Jericho Green is fantastic for commentary. I think he's awesome. HB is fantastic. There's a lot. There are a lot of YouTube channels that you could go to that have more integrity than the average journalist at the Washington Post or New York Times. Arya Lee, thank you. Yeah, I mean, let's see. There's a lot. There are a lot of good channels. There's actually, let's see. Who else is really good? I'll tell you. Yeah, there's some really good ones. Mark Dice is great. Let's see. Steven Crowder is great. Nick DiPaolo's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Crosstalk is great. Yeah, Peter Lavelle is fantastic. I've been on Crosstalk a number of times. Dan Bongino is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, there are people on the left too that I still watch from time to time, but I'm not going to bring up their names because if I do, it's like a negative on them because I'm so polarizing. For the few people who know me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. I will be back at 11 p.m. So we'll do a live stream at 11. Be back at 11, people. Thank you so very, very much. I'll see you all in about an hour, about 11:15 or so. See you all in about an hour, everyone. Thanks so much. To my super chat, thank you. Be back in one. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Dore. I'll leave it at that. Huge fan of Jimmy Dore. I think he's fantastic. I'll just leave it at that. James, thank you so very much. So I'm a huge fan of Jimmy Dore. Not so much a fan of people who say vote for Clinton in swing states. But I'll leave it at that. James, thank you. See you all at around 11:15 in about 1 hour.